Namaste. Now we are going to learn about airport operation. An airport is a location where aircraft such as airplanes, helicopters and blimps take off and land. An airport is a community aerial gateway. Today, airports supply directly to economic growth of the country, just as rivers promoted the growth of many communities in the past by facilitating transportation and communication. Therefore, an airport is considered as man-made resource which exists for promoting the entire community. It enhances economic growth through generation of employment opportunities. Proactive airport planners define that airport is more than merely a transportation terminal and act as an important economic asset of a geographic region. Its primary role is to facilitate commerce. From the historical perspective, airport terminals are a relatively new building concept that has evolved in step with the requirements of the commercial aviation industry. In this episode, we are going to learn about airport functions, airport planning management, steps in preparing airport master plan, goals and policy objectives of airport master planning, and the fifth one is factors influencing airport location. First, we will understand few terminologies. First one is airport. Airport is a terminal facility that functions as an interface between air and surface vehicles. It is a processing center providing necessary facilities for ticketing, documentation and control of passengers and cargo. International Civil Aviation Organization, a body of UN, defines airport as an area on land or water intended to be used either wholly or in part for the arrival, departure and surface of aircraft. Airport means a landing and taking off area for aircrafts, usually with runways and aircraft maintenance and passenger facilities, which includes aerodromes as defined in Clause 2 of the Indian Aircraft Act 1934. An airport is a facility where aircrafts can land and take off. Airports vary in size, with smaller or less developed airports often having a single runway shorter than 1000 meters. Larger airports for international flights generally have paved runways 2000 meters or longer. Airport functional activities can be classified into three different groups wise. The first one is essential operational services and facilities. Second, ground handling service. Third, commercial services. In other words, these can be broadly classified as aeronautical services and non-aeronautical services. Functional activities of aeronautical services includes operational activities and ground handling services. Operational activities includes air traffic control, meteorological services, telecommunications, police and security, fire, ambulance and first aid services, runways, taxiways and aprons. Ground handling services includes aircraft cleaning, provision of power and fuel, luggage and freight unloading, processing of passengers or baggage and freight. Non-aeronautical services provide commercial services like duty-free shops, other retailing shops, restaurants and bars, leisure services or hotel accommodations, banks, car rental and parking and communication facilities. Classification of airport functional activities. These airport functional activities are managed to cater to the needs of passenger, airlines, exporters, importers and visitors. There are other agencies which are also operating in the airport. Thus, major airport functions are: first one, airside management. Airside management overviews the function of runway, apron and taxiway, gateway management, vehicular discipline and allocation of base for aircraft in the terminal. Second one is terminal management. Terminal management overviews the function of terminal facilities like flight information system, closed circuit TV, airport housekeeping, city side management, trolley retrieval, signage posting, lost and found, protocol with airlines, concessionaries and other regulatory, non-regulatory agencies for smooth functioning of the terminal. Third one is cargo management. Cargo management looks after the processing of export and import and transshipment of goods at the cargo terminal. Further, it also overviews the first clearance of goods. Fourth one, technical management. Technical management overviews the air traffic services like communications and air navigational facilities to track aircraft for safety landing at airport. Fifth one, safety and security management. Safety management functions are under the country's Civil Aviation Authority. It oversees the stringent regulations in aircraft operation, licensing of personnel, airworthiness of aircraft, licensing of aerodromes, certification of indigenous aircraft, inquiry of accidents and drafting of aviation regulations from time to time. Security management is under the Bureau of Civil Aviation Security, State Police and other agencies such as anti-terrorist commando squads in order to provide safety and security to the airport users. Sixth one, airport information technology management. Airport IT management coordinates for the development of automated system in facilitation of traffic, passenger, processing and security. The importance of automation can contribute to the optimal use of airport capacity and enhanced level of airport and airline service to passengers. Seventh one, operation at passenger terminal. Operation in passenger terminal has to be efficient so as to handle large number of passengers. Passengers may spend several hours in transiting with check-in and security checks on departure and baggage pickup. Many a times, planes may be delayed for many reasons. Hence, it is necessary to provide a wide range of services including restaurants, bars, stores, hotels, in addition to the activities directly related to operations such as check-in halls, passenger loading ramps and baggage handling facilities. At the same time, airports have to provide the very specific needs of the aircraft, from runways to maintenance facilities, from fire protection to air traffic control, and measurement of activities in passenger terminals is generally straightforward. The most common indicator is the number of passengers handled, sometimes differentiated according to arrivals and departures. Transfer passengers are counted twice, once on arrival and once on departure, and so airports that serve as major transfer facilities inevitably record high passenger totals. A further measure of airport activity is the number of aircraft movements. High number of aircraft movements not to be correlated with the passenger traffic totals. Eighth one, operation at freight terminals. Specialized skill is needed to run the air freight terminal because freight handling requires specific loading and unloading equipment and efficient handling. In addition to the facilities required to accommodate trucks, a very wide range of handling gear is required that is determined by the kinds of cargo handled. The result is that terminals are differentiated functionally both by mode involved and the commodities transferred. In recent years, the air cargo terminals are exploring the scope of doing business exclusively through freighter aircraft movements. Generally, general cargo, value cargo and perishable cargoes are transported by air for faster market distribution. The total cost of construction of air cargo terminal varies according to the size of the terminal. International air cargo is categorized into export and import goods. Air cargo terminal is used for processing import, export, transshipment cargo and unaccompanied baggage. Airport authorities are generally the handling agency and manage the terminal operations besides being the government appointed custodian of import and export cargo under the Customs Act. Air cargo terminals have separate aircraft parking bays, terminals with various facilities provided for the exporters and importers and the airlines handling agents. Modern technological equipments are used for fast clearance of cargo. Ninth one, operations at airport terminals. The globalization of the economy relies increasingly on air transport, with airports acting as the main technical support. The growth of air traffic, both in terms of passengers and freight, has placed increased pressures on terminals. Existing airport terminals have been expanded and new terminals have been constructed to replace airports no longer able to cope up with the increased traffic. The geography of air terminals is embedded at two scales. They are, the first one is international or regional. At this scale, the airport site represents its role and function in the international and regional urban system. As a component of global air transport system, the location of an airport expresses its centrality and intermediacy. This consideration is strategic and linked with future growth in passengers and freight traffic. Second one is local. It is mainly concerned about the level of accessibility of the airport over the metropolitan areas it services. Such considerations are mainly operational and linked with daily flows of planes, passengers and freight to and from the airport terminals. Airports have significant economic impacts on their region with improved economic opportunities, especially direct impacts such as employment. The economic features of the region where the airport is located are important to its functions. The level of development of the tertiary and quaternary sectors is directly linked to the traffic of an airport as well as the high technology sector that uses air transport to ship high value or low mass goods. As a result, some airports are mainly focused on passengers, while others are more focused on freight. Like most transport terminals, airports have a centrality function and an intermediacy function. The importance of an airport as a hub is mainly a function of the size of the metropolitan area it services and the complexity of its economy. But it also can be the choice of airline companies seeking a low cost and centrally located airport in their networks. Passengers taking a flight will typically take an automobile, taxi, bus or train to the airport and then enter the terminal. Within the terminal, passengers purchase or obtain ticket or boarding passes, transfer their luggage and go through security. The buildings that provide access to the airplanes are typically called concourses. However, the terms terminal and concourses are sometimes used interchangeably depending on the configuration of the airport. Smaller airports have one terminal while larger airports have several terminals and or concourses. At small airports, the single terminal building typically serves all of the functions of a terminal and a concourse. Some larger airports have one terminal that is connected to multiple concourses via walkways, sky bridges or underground tunnels. Some larger airports have more than one terminal, each with one or more concourses. Second objective, airport planning management. Airport infrastructure planning is a very important aspect of the civil aviation industry. It helps the airport administration to oversee the airport capacity and to provide adequate capacity, runways, taxiways and terminals of the new airports or modernizing airports. The plan also includes various agencies like aircraft operators, national and local government planners, government control authorities, national and local authorities, aircraft and equipment manufacturers and international aviation agencies for consultation and joint planning. The most efficient plan for the airport as a whole is to provide the required capacity for aircraft, passenger, freight and vehicle movements with maximum case at lowest operating cost. Planning of airports is made more intricate by the diversity of facilities and services which are compulsory for the movement of aircraft, passenger, cargo, ground vehicles coupled with them. These facilities include runways, taxiways, aircraft aprons, terminal buildings, aircraft hangars for maintenance of aircraft, roads and parks for vehicles used by passenger, visitor, aircraft operators and all occupants of the airport, cargo terminal for dispatch and receipt of air cargo. The operation of an airport basically mixes with the functions of many of these facilities. Therefore, these facilities should be planned as a whole to provide the efficient services to the users community. What is Airport Master Plan? The Airport Master Plan presents the planner's conception of the definitive development of a specific airport. It efficiently presents the research and logic form to evolve and artfully display the plan in a graphic and written form. Master plans are applied to the modernization and expansion of existing airports and to the construction of new airports regardless of their size and functional role. Next, what is the purpose of Airport Master Plan? Airport Master Plan is used as a guide for the modernization and expansion of existing airports and the construction of new airports. It comprises of suggested land use on land adjacent to the airport. The actual construction of each physical facility design on the master plan should be undertaken after assessing the economic feasibility of an airport in terms of traffic volume and economic obligatory for meeting the demand. Therefore, an airport master plan should establish a schedule of priorities in phasing out the various improvements described in the master plan. Third objective, steps in preparing airport master plan. There are 4 steps in preparing the master plan for airport. They are: first one, general considerations or guide; second, types of activity involved; third, steps in planning process; and the fourth one is plan update recommendations. First one, general considerations. An airport master plan is only a guide for development of physical facilities of an airport, development of land uses for areas surrounding an airport, determination of the environmental effects, and establishment of access requirements of the airport. Among other things, aerodrome master plans are used to provide short or long term policy or decision guidance, to identify potential problems and opportunities, to assist in securing financial aid, negotiations between aerodrome authority and concessionary interest, and finally to create local interest and support. Types of activity involved in the master plan process. Under that, policy or coordinate planning. This planning projects goals and aims, develops work program, schedules and budget, prepares an evaluation and decision format. It establishes coordination and monitoring procedures, and it establishes data management like public information systems. Economic planning. This planning studies analysis of aviation market features and forecasts. It determines the economic and social benefits. It helps in the study and assessment of area economy. Physical planning development. It includes airspace and ATC provision, airfield configuration including approach zones, terminal complexes, circulation or utility and communication networks, support and service facilities, ground access system, overall land use patterns. Environmental planning includes preparation of an assessment of natural environmental conditions, documents present and projected development patterns, and it helps in the determination of community attitudes and options. Financial planning includes determination of airport funding resources and constraints, preparation of financial feasibility study, and it prepares preliminary financial plans and program for the finally agreed upon concept. Next is steps in planning process. To prepare a master plan or work program, inventory and document existing conditions, projection of air traffic demand, determine gross facility requirement and preliminary time phase development, evaluate existing and potential constraints, agree upon relative importance or priorities of various elements like airport type, constraints, political and other considerations. Develop several conceptual for the purpose of comparative analysis, review and screen, select most acceptable and appropriate alternative, prepare in the final form. Next is plan update recommendations. This includes master plan or specific elements that should be reviewed annually. Master plan should be thoroughly evaluated and modified every year if changes in economic, operational, environmental and financial conditions indicate an earlier need for such revision. Next is goals and policy objectives of airport master planning. The airport master planning process involves the preparation of both broad and specific policies, plans and programs needed to establish a viable airport. The goals of the airport master planning are providing orderly and timely development of an airport, placing aviation in its proper perspective, protecting and enhance the environment, promoting the establishment of master plan in a systematic fashion, ensuring compatibility with standards of ICAO and IATA, coordinating with the state airport system and regional air transportation plans where they exist, coordinating plans for air navigation facilities, airspace use and air traffic control procedures, creating general awareness to the general public, and optimizing the use of land and airspace resources. Having completed the master plan, the appropriate authorities must take the broad guidelines of the master plan and decode them into the program, which recognizes specific constraints and opportunities presented in the competitive world in which the airport operates and exists. Runways 2000 meters or longer. Fifth one, factors influencing airport location. The major factors influencing location of a new airport are aviation activity, development of surrounding area, atmospheric conditions, accessibility to ground transport, availability of land for expansion of an existing or new airport, topography, environment, presence of other airport, and last but not the least, availability of utilities like power, water, communication and sewerage. Conclusion. Airports are assuming increasing importance as the gateways to technology, industrial parks, amusement parks or tourist centers, commercial complexes, besides acting as focal points for aviation activities. The most important function of aviation sector is providing airport infrastructural facilities to the aviation users. Airports around the world are under mounting pressure to become more commercial in their corporate and managerial objectives. The spurt in the number of liberal bilateral agreements and unrestricted route rights indicates a strong upward demand trend in the air traffic globally. This calls for proper airport planning and also enhancing the capacity of existing airports to handle additional traffic. Thank you.